Good morning. Welcome to part two of Quadrilaterals. And today we'll continue to talk about the attributes of quadrilaterals. So take out yesterday's notes and have them in front of you. And this is going to be a very short one today. It's Friday. Okay, as I share my screen with you, let's review the attributes of the quadrilaterals that we talked about on yesterday. One quadrilateral we talked about was a parallelogram. And we know that it had opposite sides that are equal and opposite sides that are parallel. And remember, parallel means that the lines run in the same direction, but they never meet. So look at your notes for the parallelogram. Okay, I'm going to attempt to draw it. All right, so remember it has opposite sides that are equal. That means this side is equal to this side. And that means that side is parallel or equal to that side. Okay, so parallelogram was one that we talked about. Our next quadrilateral was a rectangle. So when we draw a rectangle, we know the attributes of a rectangle are that opposite sides are equal. So I know that this side is equal to this side. And it's also parallel, and this side is equal to this side, and they're both parallel. So a rectangle has two pairs of parallel lines, a parallelogram has two pairs of parallel lines, but a rectangle has four right angles, meaning I can draw those boxes in each angle. And if I can draw that box there, then that tells me that it is a right angle. A rectangle has four right angles, okay? Our next one, quadrilateral that we talked about was a square. We know that a square has four equal sides. Excuse me. So a square has four equal sides. So each side is equal, but this side is parallel to this side. And this side here is parallel to this side. Okay. A square also has four right angles like the rectangle. So that means I can draw a box here, and I can draw a box here. I can draw a box here, and I can draw a box here. So there are my four right angles. So I know a square has two pairs of parallel lines. I know it has four equal sides. I know a square has four right angles. Okay. Now our next one is a rhombus. Kind of looks like a diamond. Okay. So it kind of looks like that. I know that a rhombus has two pairs of parallel lines. This line here is parallel to this line right here. And this line here is parallel to this line here. So a rhombus has two sets of parallel lines. And I also know that all the sides are equal on a rhombus. Okay? And our last and final quadrilateral was the trapezoid. Okay? Oops. erase that little mistake I made right there. Turn it up a little bit. All right, so a trapezoid, I know, has one set parallel lines. So this is parallel to that, and it only has one set of parallel lines because this line here is not parallel to this one, and it's more slant. This is at a slant, and this is at a slant. And if these lines were to continue, they would eventually intersect. You're right. They would eventually intersect, meaning they would meet at some point. So remember, parallel lines never meet. So that's why the trapezoid only has one pair. Pair meaning two. One pair. It has two lines right here, but one pair of parallel lines. Okay. All right. So that's a review of the attributes of the quadrilaterals. So let's continue on. If you have your Learn book, please turn in your Learn book to page 116. And I'll pause and give you a chance to get it. All right, so if you don't have it, this is what the page looks like. Okay. And this is going to be a very short, sweet lesson today. So basically, we're going to do one I do, one we do, and one you do. And again, I'll tell you about your Kahoots when we get finished. So let's begin with the I do. Your direction reads, it says, use the word bank to name each shape, being as specific as possible. So here's my word bank. My word bank includes the words parallelogram, trapezoid, rectangle, and square. What's going on with my eyes? I'm sorry. All right, so again, my word bank is parallelogram, trapezoid, rectangle, and square. Here I have a picture in A that I have to match up with one of these four words here. Now, when I look at this picture, I know it has exactly one set of parallel lines. So I know that this line here is parallel to this line. But I also see it has these lines here, and if they keep going, that they're eventually going to intersect. And we talked about that a few minutes ago. So when that happens, it is a quadrilateral with one pair of parallel lines. So that obviously would be a, you're right, trapezoid. It would be a trapezoid. So we're going to write trapezoid here. So pick up your pencils and write trapezoid as I am. Okay, so now we can mark trapezoid off the list. And we know that it is a trapezoid because it only has one pair of parallel lines. It's the only one that we talked about. Okay, now the next one, 1B, is what we do. Let's look at what we have. We have a line here and a line here. And notice there are two ticks on this line, which means that these two lines are parallel to each other and they're congruent. So this line is parallel to this line. I also see that it has a line here and a line here. So this pair, so it has two pairs of parallel lines. Okay. And we had several of them with two pairs of parallel lines. But there is something else that we need to look at. Okay. Does it have any right angles? Are these right angles? No, these are not right angles. I cannot draw a perfect square because remember, these lines are at a slant. They're not straight. So I know it's not a rectangle because a rectangle has two pairs of parallel lines. So what could it be? Could it be a parallelogram or could it be a square? You're exactly right. B would be a parallelogram. So please write parallelogram beside B. All right. And C is a you-do. You figure out what this would be a picture of. So we've used trapezoid and we've used parallelogram. So now that means we're left with a rectangle and a square. So you do 5C and 5D. Okay, if you need additional time, then you just pause it. Now, once you finish, you're going to go to Kahoot. You have two problems to complete in Kahoot. They are not the same as your you do. They are not the same problems, but they are based on the information that we've covered. So here are your quadrilateral information and the attributes of each of the quadrilaterals. Now you've seen this for the last 2 days, so I'm going to assume that you're going to do well. So remember, your Kahoots is not the same as your you do. So make sure that you answer your questions and that you take your time and get the right answer. Remember, your Kahoots is not timed. So get the right answer. Okay, guys? All right, have a great weekend. And I'll see you bright and early on Monday. Bye-bye.